For more on this, we're now joined by Dereleen James, Communications and Marketing Chairperson and Spokesperson at Central Drug Authority, and she joins us via our phone line. Dereleen, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Perhaps let's start off with just your reaction to the latest that has taken place in Riverlea. Surely this is more than concerning now.
I think it's always been concerning for us. I mean, the fact that we've highlighted our plight for over 10 years, whenever something new happens, it's just a bit, us then sort of reaffirming and saying that, government is clearly not able to serve and protect our communities, and they clearly don't have a plan, on how to address the ongoing shootings. It's going to take a lot more than SABC to actually, for us to yield results. We need a multi-sectoral, we need all departments on board, and that is still not happening. You still find the minister going out and just, speaking about deploying more boots on the ground. We've seen more boots on the ground in the Cape Flats, and we've seen the many SABC members being gunned down. We see the same approach in our communities. I'm not sure what's the different result they expect, but it's just not working for us. And yes, my condolences to the families, but we might wake up tomorrow morning and find that there's another body on our streets.
And Dereleen, when it comes to the gang violence and the shootings we continue to see in Riverlea and other areas, maybe paint a picture for us. We've seen the reports, but the ones that go unreported, how often do we see the violence in these communities?
You know what? Just earlier on, someone sent me a graphic of their family member that was gunned down. He wasn't gunned down, he was stabbed in Riverlea. And it's not just the ones that we report on. There's actually so many that goes unreported that we don't mention. And I'm not sure if you can remember, last year we had a camp outside SABC, and we recorded all the many killings. And we said to SABC, for the year, we've had dozens of killings, and that hasn't made the news. And we're also tired of reporting all of this because, it then attaches a stigma to our communities, and people think that we are drugs and gangs, and that's not who we are. But the more we speak to us, it almost feels as if though we're only speaking to ourselves, and there's no will. There's no will from government. There's no will. Becky Cele only speaks about deploying more boots on the ground, and that's where it ends. But the trauma that we are left with as communities, it's not just the killing. Waking up to bodies, waking up to faceless bodies in our streets, what that does to our elderly, to our youth. They almost think that this is the norm. This is how we're meant to live. And there's so much healing that is needed in these communities right now. I'm not even sure where to begin. I'm honestly tired of speaking to myself at this point.
And perhaps I know you've tried to paint a picture for us, just to show us the situation in these communities. Perhaps, Dereleen, if you could also just let us know how it's like for people living in these communities, especially children. I mean, the latest one we have seen in this report is that there was a body found near a primary school. For those living in these communities, how does this actually impact them?
It really has a negative impact on our kids, because right now you find kids just being affiliated, wanting to feel part of gangs. You find kids as young as 9 and 10 tattooing gang signs on their arms with a blade and a little bit of ink and paying 5 rand. So you also see that when these incidents actually occur, the scenes aren't cordoned off. There's no SABC that responds to it speedily. So these kids actually go close range to these bodies, witness, and then the next day it's talk of the town as if though it's normal, as if though that is who we are and that is life. So there's a lot of trauma counseling that is also needed. DSD needs to come in. So people sometimes would say that, it's good, it's just another gang boss, or it was a drug dealer that was gunned down. But the impact that it has on our community, doesn't serve us very well.
And I'm sure these people are known to the community. I mean, we've seen some of the people in Riverlea saying that they are living in fear. When it comes to, the perpetrators, I'm sure they are known to communities, but I would, imagine that some people are even afraid of coming forward to come and report these matters to police.
Yes, we've always said that, what, the people causing the chaos in our communities, it is our brothers, it is our sisters, it is family members. And if you look at communities such as Westbury, there's a history, there's a legacy that goes back, where families have taken on the identity of either the victim or the perpetrator because no justice has prevailed for a crime that was committed within that family more than 10 years ago. So 10 years today comes and my son sort of takes out your son because your dad murdered my father, and it's just ongoing. And I said the other day, what we need in these communities is something, because it's small communities, and it's beyond me why we cannot get a grip on these communities where this is happening. And I think it's because our country, our police especially, they lack intelligence, to actually go back and gather the information and gather the why and the when, and actually engage with communities and allow communities to actually be the ones who come forth with a plan. But you find that they always come to the community with a top-down approach instead of a bottom-up approach in how to tackle these areas.
And, when you speak about the response from the police, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you said that the Minister of Police have said that, they are going to get more boots on the ground. Do you see any improvement in this kind of problem?
You know what? When you have boots on the ground, you must actually understand the turf. You must actually understand the modus operandi. And when you do your stop and searches, something as simple as stop and searches, you must actually have a will and want to find drugs and guns. But you find that I pass through a stop and search, someone shines their torch in my vehicle, and off I go. So having 20 policemen in our community and them not knowing what to do, you find them loitering around, you find them sitting under trees, and this is just my reality. I'm speaking about where I come from, sitting under a tree. So that they don't actually understand where to go, what we are looking for, because no one has given direction. You find that there's operations for 3 months. After 3 months, it just ends, even if though they were close to a breakthrough, it just stops right there. So having people without the necessary skill and, on how to actually tackle what is unfolding, that is not going to help us.
And Dereleen, what kind of response do you as a community you want to see from the police, especially when it comes to dealing with the drug problem, dealing with, the violence problem? As a community, what do you want to see from the police?
We don't just want to see an intervention from one department. There's 21 departments responsible when it comes to the National Drug Master Plan, that has a role to play. And we want to see a joint intervention to realize the goal of a drug country free of substance abuse and gangsterism. And that means tackling sort of the root causes, tackling your unemployment, your poverty, all your social ills, having a joint plan instead of just arresting people, arresting our children in our community. That is not going to benefit us, because at the end of the day, you're criminalizing the entire community, and they come out of prison and they continue doing crime because they cannot find employment. So for as long as we're only looking at SABC, for providing a solution, we're not going to get very far.
All right, Dereleen, thank you so much for your time and your contributions on the show. That is Dereleen James. She is the Communications and Marketing Chairperson and Spokesperson at the Central Drug Authority, just giving us her insights when it comes to gang violence, which has riddled many communities in the country.